Now, beef and Guinness is a very famous stew, and normally it takes hours, you know, and you make it with a stewing steak, or my favourite, beef cheek. It's beautiful with beef cheek. But this is the Huey version, which is a bit simpler. Needs a prime cut of beef. I'm using fillet steak, which is getting a bit expensive, I know, but you could use porterhouse or rump or anything like that. And all we do is, for two people, I've got 300 grams of beef, and I'm just going to cut it into some chunks, even ones, or reasonably even, just like that. This is one of the few times these days that I use fillet steak, because it has got very expensive. But it's a beautiful cut of beef in something like this, which has got a really flavoursome sauce. So we just cut that up into cubes, all fairly large and all evenly cut, or vaguely evenly cut, I should say. And into our pan, a good layer of olive oil, and we will add those cubes of beef. And just mix them around a bit to make sure they're one layer. All I'm doing is sealing them. All right, looking good. One of the reasons I like this so much is that you don't end up with very well done beef. You end up with sort of a nice pink fillet steak, which is lovely. Now, to that I then add, now if you're in a real hurry, don't do the button onions, because they'll take a while. So you can do it without the button onions, but they are nice. And also some baby mushrooms and some lardons of bacon. Just some streaky bacon would be nice. And to that we then add just a good dollop of butter, because the one thing I can tell you about Ireland, where I visited with Healthy, Wealthy and Wise, they are not adverse to using a decent amount of butter. And they have beautiful butter too in Ireland. Toss those around to start the cooking process. Right, what we do next is we add a good tablespoon of plain flour. Now this is the thickening agent, so we cook it briefly just with those veggies and the bacon. And we just mix that around, scrape all those goodies from the bottom. That's what adds the extra flavour to our sauce. And just mix it around briefly. It doesn't take much time because there's not a lot of flour. And to that we then add about half a cup of stock, most of a bottle of Guinness. You always leave a little bit to drink, don't you? Actually, I must tell you a lovely story about Guinness. When I was in Ireland, and I loved Ireland, a beautiful place, great food, lovely people, a lot of fun. But every pub we went into, they said, oh, and I would love to do an Irish accent, but I can't even speak English, let alone do an Irish accent. And they would say, you know that this is where Guinness was created. Every pub! I don't think it was. I don't think it was created in any of them. But anyway, I'm glad I shared that with you. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cook that, adding a little bit more Guinness and a little bit more stock until those onions are tender. When the onions are tender, we can return the beef. My friends, I wish you were here because it actually smells beautiful. So we just put that in. I'm just going to chop a little bit of parsley to go with it. I'll chop the parsley in those juices. Right, now, just mix that in. Cook it for 3 or 4 minutes. That's about all, I think. Oh, guys, that is absolutely bloody wonderful. Really is. That is just beautiful. I would serve it with maybe some mashed potato. That's the other thing about Ireland. I remember talking to the chefs there, and there was a Frenchman who was a terrific chef. And I said to him, what's the difference about working in Irish kitchens? He was working in Dublin. And he said, no matter what dish I do, I have to serve at least 3 types of potatoes, otherwise I'd get the boot. And I thought that was a bit harsh. And I said to some of the other chefs, I said, well, what do you mean you get the boot? And he said, well, it's nothing to do with the owners. It's because the locals love potatoes so much, as was proved by the great potato famine. They love potatoes so much that if they don't get plenty of them, they would never go there again. Anyway, so serve this with at least one potato. Oh, just mash would be lovely. Or just a green salad if you like, because it has got some veggies in it. So there's enough for two here out of my 300 grams of beef. And you can always up the veggies, you know, put some carrots in or something else like that. To serve with it, either a big bold red like this Taylor's Cabernet Sauvignon, or, of course, you could have Guinness, couldn't you? Guys, to show your support for my channel and to keep in the loop, subscribe. It's easy to do, and don't forget, it's free. Okay, cheers.